going on, dudes and dudettes? So yeah, sadly, Duke football did lose to Louisville pretty badly, 23-0. I believe the final score was. They just couldn't get anything going. I believe Riley Leonard did play because I was going back and forth with another game. Wasn't really paying attention just because Duke never seemed to get anything going. No calls were going their way, so it's just tough to score. And I think they get Wake Forest tonight on a Thursday, which is pretty crazy for them playing. But yeah, they'll get that, and I think they're already like a 12-point favorite. So usually you're giving like 3 points if you're the better team. So they definitely expect Duke to win pretty nicely, and hopefully Riley Leonard is a bit more healthier as well, because as he goes, this team goes. And like I said, with this dumb injury, it's kind of messing up his draft status. So I hope he does end up coming back at least one more season, giving it another go, and hopefully Drake May will be gone from North Carolina at that point too, so it'll be a little bit easier in that conference. But yeah, definitely looking forward to tonight's game and see what can happen. But the men's basketball team did have an exhibition right before they play. I want to say this weekend. I want to say Sunday is their first game against Dartmouth. I could be wrong, but yes, this was an exhibition game. I forget the name of the school, but they won pretty easily, like 109 to... yeah, I'm already mixed up. Yeah, 109 to 64. And most of the regular guys stepped up, like Filipowski, I believe, led all scores with 17. Tyrese Proctor was right under that. Jared McCain, the freshman, dropped 15 as well. So yeah, a lot of the guys did step up. I think like 4 or 5 guys were in double figures, so that's nice to see, especially in an exhibition game, and they pretty much won almost by double points, so that was good to see. And they should be doing that again in the first couple of games, and then I think they get, forget if it's Arizona or Michigan State first, but that's going to be a pretty tough game either way. But yeah, definitely looking forward to the men's basketball season starting up pretty soon. And the Anaheim Ducks are on a bit of a win streak. I think when I last made a video before the most recent USC one, I think they had won at least 2, maybe. I could be wrong, but yeah, they just keep winning. They ended up beating the Flyers on the road 7-4. They beat Pittsburgh Penguins, which is a pretty good team, 4-3, and they recently beat the Phoenix, or is it Arizona Coyotes? I forget which one they used, 4-3. So that was a nice victory for them, and I think even Frank Vetrano, one of those players, had like a hat trick in one of those games as well. And a lot of the younger guys are stepping up, making these couple of these game-winning goals and in overtime and all this stuff. So it's definitely looking nice. And I was watching some highlights in the, as I know it, the Arrowhead Pond, but I think now it's the Honda Center or Honda Pond, whatever. But yeah, that place was rocking. Definitely looking forward to seeing that place go crazy again, because once it was in the early 2000s, late 90s, it was definitely a cool place to see and experience it on television, because I'd never been, sadly. Hopefully we'll be doing that in the near future at some point. But yeah, either way, it's nice get off for the Ducks. Right now, we started kind of bad, but now they've gone on a little bit of a streak, which is nice to see. And then, yes, the Chargers did finally waive a 3rd-round draft pick they had a couple years ago, the tight end Trey McKitty. They just brought him in because he was a really highly talented high school guy, and in both Florida State and Georgia, he kind of was used more as a blocking guy and not offensively, not very well all around. And they drafted him in the 3rd round, even though people thought you'd get him in like the 6th or 7th. And he still never panned out. He's pretty bad at still even blocking, which is what he was more known for, even at Georgia, and just never really developed in the passing game either. So I'm kind of glad that they finally did get rid of him, because it's one of GM Tom Telesco's worst picks, in my opinion, in the most recent history. And then they did bring up from the practice squad Nick Vanette, who they signed there quite a bit ago, and everybody thought he should be getting more, at least playing time, because he's a better blocker. Maybe not as good offensively, but defense or blocking wise and scheme wise, he should be able to help you out and be a better option there. So hopefully that does end up happening. They do have an open spot, so we'll see if they end up putting someone else on that practice squad at some point as well in the near future. Yeah, and last week the Lakers did lose a tough overtime loss to the Sacramento Kings. They fought hard to get back into that game, and sadly they weren't able to finish it. But yeah, that did suck. But they did end up getting the Magic pretty much the very next day, and I'm surprised that they even won that game 106-103. And AD had 26 points, 19 rebounds, and 5 assists. And then just yesterday, they finally beat the Clippers 130-125. I guess the Clippers had like an 11 or 12 game regular season win streak against them. So yeah, it's pretty crazy how long of a streak and how long it's been since they beat the Clippers in the regular season. But definitely very happy and excited that it did finally happen. Because even when I did see, the score around halftime, it looked like Clippers were kind of still maintaining the lead and having their way. But luckily, the Lakers did step up, and they should have, because the Clippers did trade for James Harden, who's still not playing. It's only been a couple of days, but they did lose a bunch of their depth as well, the Clippers. So the Lakers should have easily won this game. But either way, a win's a win, especially in the division and in the Pacific side or the Western side of the conference. I wanted to say Pac-12, but yeah, sorry, just made a USC video prior to this, but yeah, it's not that. But either way, looking forward to that. And then a little bit of Lakers news for their G League team. Ex-Duke player Jack White was drafted number 1 overall in the NBA G League draft, which I forgot that they did. But that's pretty cool that he got drafted number 1, ex-Duke player. But he was then traded to the South Bay Lakers, which is their G League affiliate. And maybe that's a hint that they might be bringing him up. I know he was just a recent champion with the Denver Nuggets. It's not like he played, crazy game-winning minutes, but he is a nice guy to have on your roster, deep down in your roster if you have to go get a forward and all that stuff. He's a pretty talented player, not the greatest player, but he will definitely do the right thing, and he's a winning player coming from Duke. So either way, this is a nice get for them, and hopefully he will be elevated to the main roster at some point. And I forgot to mention in that Cooper Flagg video earlier this week that he is obviously the number 1 overall player coming in to Duke, and they've recently had, I think it's 5 overall players in their program's history. I think recently was R.J. Barrett, then Marvin Bagley, then Jahlil Okafor, and Josh McRoberts, which was a surprising one in that list, or on that list, but I guess he was just that talented at that time. Did play for the Lakers couple seasons and here and there as well in the NBA, so he lasted quite a bit, but never really full starter, but definitely one of the better Duke players in most recent history. He even played with JJ Redick. That's how old of a time he was at that time. But yeah, overall it's pretty cool for the men's Duke basketball team. Still looking forward to him showing up at some point next season. And then a local product, a girl from Southern California, Janessa Cotton, recently committed to Duke to play for the women's basketball team. I was just a little bit surprised of how well USC, the women's basketball team, has done recruiting locally, and I think she even went to Mater Dei, which is one of the top Orange County football schools out here. But yeah, sadly, I guess it's not really that sad because she still went to a good team, in my opinion, in Duke, or a good school. So either way, it'd be cool to see, because she's definitely, after seeing some of the highlights that I saw, she was definitely one of the better players out here locally. So definitely a nice get for the Duke women's basketball team. So Duke recently put out their future ACC schedule from like 2024 to 2030, I believe. So they got all the way up until then, because they did recently add, I think it was Cal, Stanford, and SMU, which is kind of weird because it's so far away from all those other schools, but it's going to be definitely interesting. I'm not going to go through every single team on the list because there would be like 8 teams per year, but I'm going to go through the years where they're playing those new schools and see what they could end up doing. So in that first 2024 year, they only get SMU, but it is at home, so we'll see how it goes. And then in 2025, they only get Cal, but that's an away game, so we'll see how they do in that future game, traveling all the way to the West Coast. Then 2026, they get Stanford at home only. That'll be pretty interesting to see how good that Stanford team is by them. 2027, they get Stanford away, so that's not too bad. We'll see how they do once again on that long trip. 2028, they just get regular teams that they've always played, so none of the new teams. Then 2029, they get at least two of them. They get Stanford at home and Cal away. That's pretty interesting. And then in 2030, they get a home game against Cal, and SMU is away. So I think in those games I mentioned, they only play SMU twice of the new teams, and they play them the very next season and then all the way in the future in 2030, which is pretty crazy. And yet, mixed in between, it's home and home against Cal and Stanford, and I think they played both of them like at least 3 times. I could be wrong. I just read it, but I wasn't paying attention. I was just reading. I'm like Ron Burgundy. If you put it in front of me, I'm just gonna read it. But yes, either way, so it's gonna be definitely interesting to see how that conference shapes out. Because I was hoping the Pac-12 would try to stay together and get SMU and try to steal some of those other teams closer and not have to travel as far as this. But yeah, sadly, I guess we'll see what Oregon State and Washington State end up doing. They might just end up joining the Big Ten because they're over there, or they could stay in the west side and join the Mountain West or something like that is what they call it, with like Fresno State and Wyoming, all those teams, San Jose State. So they could be the top dogs out there, but it'll be harder to get to the championship game. But either way, it's still going to be playing football, so I guess that's the most important thing. But yeah, either way. And then I think today is Dia de los Muertos, which is pretty cool. Mexican culture holiday, I believe, at least according even to that movie Coco, you kind of like leave gifts and food for the dead at their burial ground and their gravesite, so that that night when they come back, they're able to eat it and enjoy it, and then you kind of just hang around and party even before that, kind of hang out and be with them and remember them and all that stuff. So that's pretty cool thing that they have in their culture. We have. I am half Mexican and half Peruvian, even though it doesn't look like it, especially when the white gets on me too much. But yeah, either way, it'd be pretty cool. Probably gonna watch Coco at some point today to show some respect. And yeah, my girlfriend put up I forget what she called it already, but it's kind of like a little setup where you put pictures of relatives that have passed away and you kind of put a display up and all that stuff. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, either way, be seeing what happens the rest of the night. Yeah, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.